Thank you very much. Let me welcome you to Maison African Motives. Today we are going to be on life orientation, grade 11, term 1 notes. So that is that. We are going to do term 1 notes. So, like I've said, it is term 1, week 1 to week 3. So we are first going to start with chapter 1, development of the self in society. Development of the self in society. As it says, plan and achieve life goals. So we are going to do types of goals. What are goals? It says, what are goals? So we can say goals are things you want to achieve, are things you want to achieve in future, in the future. So they give you direction. They give you direction and help you plan your life. And help you plan your life. So that is that. So for example, we can talk about improve my school marks this term. That is your goal. You want to improve your school marks this term. That's what you want to achieve. So as it says, goals are things we want to achieve in life. Like we've said, it is our plans and aims. So your aim for this term is to improve your marks. So they are different from dreams and wishes in that we can take active step to achieve goals. Here we are going to be action oriented. We can take action steps to achieve our goals. So we can turn our wish into a goal. So these wishes and dreams, we can turn them into a goal so that we can be able to achieve that goal in the future. So when we have goals, we know we are going. We know where we are going. Like I've said, they give you what? A direction. So goals are important because they help you to take charge of your life and make decisions. So the goals make it easy for us to make a decision. So that is that. So now let us move on. Where we are, it says, now bullet number 2, you must set a SMART goals. Like you know what are the goals. So we must set a SMART goals. So a SMART goals means that the S, that is an acronym. So S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, A stands for achievable, R stands for realistic, and T is a time-based. So when you talk of the SMART, that is where we are saying this SMART, it's a method. It's a method for setting goals. For setting goals that are clear, that are clear and achievable. That are clear and achievable. That's what I'm talking about. What? SMART. Like we've said, this SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. So with specific, we are trying to say the goal must be clear, not general. That's what you are trying to say. Goal must be clear, must be clear and not general. And not general. That is that. For example, I want to improve my maths mark. You see, you are specific. You are not general. You are not just saying you want to improve your marks, but you're specific that you want to improve what your maths mark. That's what you are trying to say when you talk about specific. As it is, what do I want to achieve? You must say exactly what you want to achieve. Who is involved? What do I need to be able to do this? That is that. Now we come to measurable. So that is M is measurable. So when you talk of measurable, we are trying to say you must be able to measure or track progress. You must be able, you must be able, you must be able to measure or track progress. Or track progress. That's that. For example, when you're talking about the A, the measurable part, you can say, I want to improve my maths mark from 50% to 70. You see now, you are giving us what? The measure. You are now giving us a track progress. So we need to see you want to improve your maths mark from 50% to 70%. So that is what we are saying. You must be able to measure if you make a progress and achieve. Hope we are together on that. So also goals must be achievable. Goals must be achievable. Meaning the goal must be realistic. When you talk of what achievable, goal must be realistic. They must be realistic. Goal must be realistic and possible to reach. They must be realistic and possible to reach. Let's make an example. I will study maths for 1 hour every day. That is what you can be able. It's realistic. It's realistic. That's what you can be able to achieve. But you cannot say you can do your maths for 24 hours. It's very unrealistic. You can't achieve that. So that is that what we are trying to say when we are talking about achievable. Like it says, what do I need to achieve? To achieve it, money, skills, as well as abilities. Also, we are saying the goal must be realistic, like we've said. We talk about realistic or relevant. So you must be able to achieve it and must be willing to work towards achieving the goals. Like we've said, that is, you have to come up with something that is going to be easy for you to achieve. So that's when you are saying you are being realistic. So now talk about the time bound or time based. Time bound or time based. But if realistic again, before you can go to time bound, that is why we are trying to say the goal must be important and connected to what is in life. That is that. So time based. With time based, you're trying to say, or time bound, there must be a deadline. We're saying there must be a deadline. There must be a date, a deadline, or time frame, or time frame. That is that. So, for example, I want to achieve 70% in maths by the end of time. So you see, you gave what? A deadline. By the end of this term, you want to have achieved what? A 70%. That is, it says you must set a time limit to achieve your goals. So that is that. Now we move on to types of goals. We'll move on to types of goals. We have short-term goals as medium-term goals as well as long-term goals. So with short-term goals, we're talking about goals you want to achieve soon. We are talking about goals you want to achieve soon. You want to achieve soon, like days, weeks, or months. For example, finish my assignment by Friday. You see, that is that. As it is, we achieve it in a short space of time. Example, project you want to finish the weekend. You achieve them in a week or month, like I have said. But with medium-term goals, something you want to achieve in the next 6 months. That one is a medium. But with long-term goals, these are goals you want to achieve in a few years, like becoming a doctor or engineer. So long-term goals meaning to say we are saying goals you want to achieve in the future. These are goals you want to achieve in the future. In the future, say months or years. Months or years. So that is that. So now let us move on to 5 steps method for planning goal setting. 5-step method for planning goal setting. The first step says write down your goal. Write down your goal. Meaning to say, clearly state what you want to achieve. Clearly state what you want to achieve. What you want to achieve. Clearly state what you want to achieve. For example, I want to improve my maths marks to 70 marks. That is that. That example can apply even here. That is your goal. Check to see if it is a SMART goal. That is step 2. Check if it is a SMART goal. We have said S stands for what? We have said S stands for specific. I've said S stands for specific and M measurable, achievable A, realistic, and time-based. So that's that. Check if your goal is SMART. So you know very well when we're talking about a SMART goal, that's when we are talking about setting goals that are clear and achievable. That is that. So step number 2, it says check to see if your goal is SMART. So SMART goals is specific. So we know the SMART goals is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, as well as time bound. So that is that. So the step number 3, make an action plan to achieve your goal. Make an action plan to achieve goal. Meaning to say with this one, you're trying to say list now steps you will take. You will take to achieve the goal. To achieve the goal. So that is that. For example, study hour daily, attend extra classes, practice past papers. You see, those are the steps that you will take to achieve the goal. These those steps that will help you to achieve the goals. That is why you can say you're going to study hour daily, attend extra classes, practice past question papers. So those are the goal, those are the steps that are going to help you to achieve your 70% that you want to achieve at the end of the term. Step 4, do it. Carry out your action plan. Meaning to say, start doing the task. We are saying, start doing the tasks from your action plan. From your action plan. That is that. For example, you attend the classes and follow your study timetable. You see, now you are acting out. You are carrying out your action plan. You are implementing your plans. Step number 5, the last one, evaluate if you have achieved your goal. Meaning to say, check your results and see if the goal was reached. You check your results. You check your results and see if the goal it was reached. So that is that. So these are 5-step method for planning and goal setting. So now let us move on to problem solving skills. Problem solving skills. So it as well have what? The step. So the first steps in problem solving skills, explain the problem, define the problem, and say what it means. So that is the first step. So meaning to say, clearly describe what the problem is. We're trying to say, clearly describe what the problem is. What the problem is. That is that. For example, I'm feeling mess because I don't understand algebra. That is a problem. Step number 2, gather now the information about the problem. So find facts that help you to understand the problem. That is that. Find facts that help you understand the problem. Don't you be understand the problem. So that is that. For example, ask your teacher which topics you struggle with. So that's how you find the facts that help you to understand the problem. Step 3, list as many possible solutions as you can. Meaning to say, you think of all ways you can solve the problem. Think of all ways you can solve the problem. That is that. So now let us move on to step number 4. So here we are on step number 4, which says make a table and write down your problems and solution. So that is that. So with step number 4, you organize the options in a table. Organize the options. The options in a table. In a table to analyze them. To analyze them. Meaning to say you're going to have a problem and then you're going to have solution in table. So your problem will be understand algebra, solution will be attending tutoring. So that's what you're trying to say when we are talking about that. Step number 5, think of the effects, consequences of each solution. That is step number 5. That is now you consider what may happen with each solution. Consider what may happen with each solution. What may happen with each solution. With each solution. Step number 6, choose the best solution. Meaning, pick the most effective and realistic solution. Pick the most effective and realistic solution. And realistic solution. For example, join after school classes twice a week. So that is that. So now let us move on to a problem solving model. Problem solving model can look like this. Problem solving model can look like this. Explain the problem and define the problem. Say what it means. Then you're going to explain the problem. What is the problem? You define it and say what it means. You gather the information about the problem. What information can help you to solve the problem? What you need to do to know. Then you come up with possible solutions. You write down the best solution, reasons why this is the best solution, possible effect of each solution. So this is what we have already talked about when we're talking about where you explain the problem. We have said you clearly describe what the problem and you define that problem. You gather information. We have said you find the facts that will help you to understand the problem. Then you list possible solutions, like we have said. So you think of all ways you can solve what the problem. Then you write down the best solution, meaning to say, now you come up with the solution that they are going to help you to solve the problem and give the reasons why you consider them the best solution. And then you come to the possible effects of each solution. So that is that. Now let us come to the relationship between personal values, choices, goals, and team. Then the question is, what are the values? What are the values? We first start by what are the values? So it is a principle you think are important in life. Values are principles you think are important. As it helps you to make decisions on how you want to live your life. Your values will influence the decision you make. It will influence the kind of rules you set in your life. So your values will shape your mission statement. Things that will influence your values are your environment, your school, important people in your life. Values help you to choose what is important and it helps you to set your priorities. Now we are moving on to relationship. Relationship and the influence of well-being. Throughout our lives, we depend on relationships of well-being. So if you have a good relationships with members of your family and friends and colleagues, you feel happy and confident. When you have healthy relationship with your friends, colleagues, your family. So when there is conflict in any of these relationships, it can affect your well-being and also threaten your ability to form new relationships. That is that. Now we come to types of relationships, types of relationships with different people or groups. We're going to start by family. So when you talk of family, like I said, we're talking about people who are related to you through blood or marriage. People related to you by blood or marriage. Examples, we're talking about parents, siblings, cousins. Those are people who are closest to you. Then they will receive most love, care, and support from them. So that is that. But when we are talking about a casual, when we talk of casual, we are talking about people you see often but are not close to. Like we're talking about a teacher, employer, or a doctor. So, no, I'm sorry. We're talking about casual. Sorry. When we talk of casual, we're talking about people you see often but you're not close to. We're talking about classmate. Sorry for making examples of formal, but you're on casual. We're talking about classmate, neighbor, you greet but don't hang out with them. That is what we're saying. Relationships with people you see often but are not close, like friends and family. They are casual to you. So those are people that you can greet, but you don't hang out with those people. Hope you're together. Also, when we come to friends. So a friend is the person you know well, like, trust, respect, and who support you. Good friends will have a positive effect on your well-being. Harmful friends can lead you to risky behavior and you can get hurt. So that is friends, people you know well and trust. Example, a best friend who support you. That is the people you trust. You know very well. That is that. But now coming to a formal relationship. These relationships with people who are usually in a more senior position than yourself, example, teachers and elders, or people in your professional or respectful settings. Like, can talk of teacher, can talk of employer, doctors, that is that. So now we come to romantic. Close relationship with another person based on love. With this person, you can be yourself without demands to change. So a romantic, that is a close loving relationship with another person. Example, dating someone you care about. So hope we are together on that. Let us move on. Let us move on now. Now we come to changing let me change in relationship. Let me just come to change in relationship. Changing relationships. We are on changing relationships. So when you're talking about changing relationships, we're talking about natural developments. But let me let this statement was life changes with every change. Relationship changes as well. Some develop fast as life opens new opportunities. Others develop slow and steady. Some people are forced to change quickly because of unexpected events in their life. So we are going to talk about natural developments that can change relationships. So when you talk about natural developments, we are talking about predictable life changes that affect relationships. Predictable life, predictable life changes that affect relationships. As we are given these um, examples, as we are given these examples, moving to another area, meeting new people, health changes, new interests, getting older, as well as any money. Those are predictable life changes that affect relationships. But When you are talking about unexpected events that change relationships, that's when you're talking about what? Sudden events that change relationship. And the examples that you're talking about are accidents. They are sudden. Job loss, losing money, violent crime, war, death of a family member, death of a close friend, separation, and divorce. Those are unexpected events that change relationship. Those are the sudden events that change relationships. Hope we are together on that. Now moving on to the bullet that we have underneath this table is that your family is where your first relationships are formed and where you are going to see the greatest changes in your relationships. That is true. That is where your first relationship formed, and that is where you are first going to be able to is identify and see the changes in your relationship. Your parents and family are aware of the changes you're going through. They need time to get used to you. Take time to talk to your family. Your family prepares you for the world. You learn the importance of sharing and accepting responsibility and the need for order and routine. You absorb attitudes, values, and ways of behavior forming your family. As you grow older and form new relationships, you can decide which attitudes and values you want to keep and what you want to change. So that is that. So now we come to the skills. Come to the skills and qualities which make a good relationship. Now we are first going to start by unselfish, meaning think about others. Think about others, not only yourself. Not only yourself. That's being unselfish. Example, sharing your last snack with a friend. That is being unselfish. Caring. With caring, that is showing kindness. Showing kindness. Showing kindness and concern. And concern. Show kindness and concern. For example, checking on a friend who is sick. That's being caring. Mutual respect now. So with mutual respect, that is where we are talking about both people view each other. Both people view each. That's a mutual respect. For example, you listen to your friend's opinions, even if you disagree. That's a mutual respect. Ability to communicate. Ability to communicate. This is what we're trying to say, expressing thoughts, expressing thoughts clearly. That is that, expressing thoughts clearly and listening well. And listening well. So, example, talking openly about your feelings. Accepting people as they are. Accepting people as they are. Not trying to change people. That is that. Accepting people as they are. Not trying to change people. Not trying to change people. Meaning to say, for example, your friend is quiet, is a quiet person. You respect that. Respect that he is a quiet person. Then sympathetic, understanding someone's feeling. Understanding someone feelings. And when someone feelings, that's being sympathetic. Example, feeling sad when your friend is upset. That is that. Good listener. A good listener, that is one who is paying attention when someone talks. Paying attention when someone talks. When someone talks, example, listening your friend finish speaking without interrupting. Then being supportive now. So being supportive, that is helping and encouraging others. For example, helping your sister study for a test. Able to do work as a team, that is cooperating with others to reach goals. For example, sharing duties in a group project. So that is that. So now let us move on to power and gender in relationship. Power and gender in relationship. So power, when you talk of a power, when you talk of power now, a power is in relationship. Power in relationship is when one person has more control. It's more control or influence over the other. Or influence over the other. That is that. For example, a partner who controls all the money and decides how it is spent has power over the other. Has power over the other person. Like it says, the rule of power in relationship. Having power means having control over something or someone. So in relationship, one person may have power over another. We call this relationship relations. So that is that. So gender roles and stereotyping. So gender roles and stereotyping. This is when people assume someone will have a certain way just because they are male or female. So it is when people assume someone will behave a certain way just because they are male or female. For example, saying all yes like cooking or boys don't cry is gender stereotyping. So that is that. So they say gender stereotyping is when people think that someone behaves or will behave in a certain way because of their gender. For example, thinking that all girls like to cook, men earn money, and women spend it. That is gender roles and stereotyping. So now we come to gender roles. Now we come to gender roles. So gender roles, now we are saying these are socially created expectations about how men and women should behave, often influenced by tradition and culture. For example, traditional men were expected to work and earn money, while women were expected to stay home and raise children. So that is why it is in society there are traditional gender roles. Men and women have different biological roles, which have influenced in their roles in society. Women bear children in the past. In the past, they stayed and they stayed at home and to raise children. Men went to look for work and money, and men had financial power and could decide how money was used. Women were dependent on men and tied down by family responsibility. This is changing. This changing, and many women today who have children and also work. So in traditional gender roles, Being masculine means being dominant, while being feminine means being submissive. So we live in a society that has expectation of people based on their gender. For example, men are supposed to be strong, powerful, while women and children can be weak and submissive. So women expected to be emotional, whereas men are rational. So that's that. So more examples when we are talking about this gender roles. We are saying women are emotional and let emotions rule their lives. Men are more interested in sex than women. Women are more mature than men. Engineering is not career for women, and men are incentive. So that is that. So now we come to this different, the effect of gender roles on men and women. The effect of gender roles on men and women. Effects of gender roles on men or women. So as you know, effects on gender roles on men. Gender roles can limit by forcing them to behave in a certain way. For example, men may feel they can't show emotions because society expects them to be tough. That is that. But when it comes to women, effects on gender roles on women, a gender roles can restrict women opportunities and independence. For example, women's opinion may not be taken seriously in a meeting because people expect men to lead. That is that. So let's come to these points that were given. Men and the woman. They're saying this prevents them from showing feelings, like I've said, that the gender roles can limit men by forcing them to behave in a certain way. That's really, I think this prevents them from showing feelings. Forced to be one of the boys. Treat women inferior when with friends. Boys' sporting events are more important than girls. You see, but when it comes to men, women, views are not taken seriously in the meetings because they expect the men to lead. Taken for granted, it is not allowed to develop an as individual. Have little say in decisions that are made. So that is that. So this is the end of this presentation for chapter 1. So when we meet, we are going to meet with chapter 2. So grade 11s, make sure that you are going to go through these notes and read them to understand them. So thank you very much for your time, and please share with those who are concerned. I thank you.